So fine.
You're
I
on.
had hoped that you had the whole
You're on.
forward. All right. Hans Dolezalek.
Lotte, auch Dolezalek.
Married since
Ja, no?
1951. That was actually almost your half-time in life.
Ja,
When were you born
1912.
and where? You were not born in the boondocks. You had chosen as your place to show up on this stage in...
1912 in Charlottenburg.
Now Charlottenburg no longer is Charlottenburg, but a part of
Berlin.
Berlin, yeah.
Aber Charlottenburg had its own castle.
Yes.
There was a Schloss Charlottenburg.
So, and Berlin happened to be at that time, or has been for a long time, the capital.
Yeah, German capital.
Yeah, first capital of
And
Prussia.
still is. And nowadays, the East and West meet very often in the center of Berlin at the what is called the Siegessäule. In the Tiergarten, which is a big park in the middle of Berlin.
It
the
doesn't.
German center.
And who actually created that Tiergarten?
Oh,
Was it Frederick
der
II?
der große Kurfürst.
Oh, it goes so. You have to remember that the people who will probably listen to this recording don't have any idea when the große Kurfürst lived.
Yeah,
So that was early 18th century, or was it 17th century?
I don't remember when it was.
Well, anyway, it goes way, way back. So this guy would be now probably 400 years. While you only march toward your birthday and your celebration of your 100th birthday.
Yeah, only 100 years old.
Deep sigh. But that's why we want to record these 100 years, because they ran from the German Empire to the German Republic, to speak politically. And the German...
My life was in this very dirty first half of the last century.
Why do you call it a dirty century?
It began 1914 with the First World War, which was not necessary, and the German Emperor could have avoided it. And that ended 1918, with the downfall of Germany. And then the Emperor had to go. He went to the Netherlands, where the Germans could not reach him, and his children, for example, do you know what the Crown Prince is? The son of an emperor, of a king or emperor. And these children mostly did not learn anything, because she were the children of the mighty man, and that was enough.
They didn't need to earn any money.
But after 1918 in Germany, these children did not have any money. And it was, I remember this, I was a very young man, but they had a very difficult life.
Well, I think the emperor at that time was no longer even in his chateau, in his castle.
Oh, no, he was in the Netherlands.
Yes, he had to escape to the Netherlands so that Germany could make peace with his enemies. And Hans, not to question your voice, but I think still it would be much fun if you would now produce this famous little ditty on the emperor and his wife, who were sitting in the Netherlands and not knowing how to make a living. So what did she have to do?
Well, he made wooden, very funny things. And because my father was once a guest of the German emperor, had lunch with him and others, not only the two. So my father was dead, my mother got from the emperor now in the Netherlands some funny wooden thing, because the emperor had nothing to do, so he made this.
So he carved these wooden spoons, probably.
Yeah.
So the emperor sent such a spoon to your mother,
Yes.
hoping that your mother would in turn send him some money for it, as a
I
payment.
don't know, but my mother said I should tell nobody that we got this.
You don't remember the little song that you always sang for us? That she had to peel potatoes. What was her name? Oh well, I forget about it. It's taking us too long to talk about this couple who was ending their lives in the Netherlands. But going back to your family, so this was 1919, after the war. In Berlin you were 7 years old, and of course you went to school. But being the son of a professor who was very eager that you would also become a professor, he sent you to a little private school.
Yeah.
And
We had 4 pupils. The whole school had 4 pupils. And then 2 stayed away, so we were 2 pupils. And then we had a very, very sad memory. That was after World War I, was lost by Germany. And so finally around 1920, I don't know when it was, much later, the French and English let the German prisoners of war go home. And our teacher took 2 of us, we were only 2 pupils, going down the stairs, the street, through this very long street, which begins as Kurfürstendamm, which is the modern, fashionable
thoroughfare.
And along the zoological garden, the Kurfürstenstraße. And there came these German former soldiers, now let go home after being a few years as prisoners.
Defeated, yeah.
And I will never forget how alien, how dirty they looked. And now and then maybe one would call mother, and there was along the street was his mother standing, or his wife. That happened a few times, only 3 or 4 times.
So that was actually the last trickle of soldiers who came at last home,
Yeah.
being released from as prisoners.
Well, yeah, these were the last prisoner of war from the West.
Yeah.
Out
Those-
of Russia, many much later came.
Oh, Russia did release their prisoners only much later,
Much later.
and they were in much
They were not all,
worse condition.
these people in Russia were not all prisoners of war. They went into Germany, in the eastern zone of Germany, and took from the street some man who looked strong enough. Came to him, said, "You go with me." And he could not do anything, he must go with him. Never saw his wife, his children again. He was brought into Russia, to the far north of Russia, close to the Polar Sea. And there they had to work in a mine, underground,
This was in Siberia.
for many years.
We're going back to Berlin and to the maybe 7-year-old little Hans. So there was no emperor any longer. So whom did you have then as head of the state?
Ebert.
Ebert was a president. All right, we will have to interrupt here. So we are back in Berlin in the year 1919. Ebert was elected president of Germany.
Yeah, I still remember that. But but then the inflation began.
But that was actually the guy who followed an emperor, and of course what had he been? I think his profession was not very high ranking. He did not have a professional education. He did not live in a chateau. So some of the German population just looked down on him. They felt Germany could have done better.